Hey Yardners, what's up? It's Destry. Welcome back to my Oregon yard. Today we are going to be doing a quick repotting project here in my greenhouse. I have some houseplants, basically houseplants that I need to repot, and it's pretty cool here in the morning in my greenhouse. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this done, and I thought I'd take you along for the ride. So let's get started. So one thing I love about my greenhouse is that it's pretty shady in the morning. You might also notice I have a little fan here, which is really like helping with the heat. Here in Willamette Valley, Oregon, it has been getting up into the 90s, 80s and 90s, I would say, but this week has been hot. So as I'm making this video, it's Friday. I thought if I can get out early enough in the greenhouse, there's just a couple houseplants that really need repotted. I hit up a garage sale this morning, and that was kind of the catalyst for this, is I found this really cute pot for $1. Really nice glaze on it, hole in the bottom. So I scooped that up, and I thought it would be the perfect size for this prayer plant. I don't know, common name is a prayer plant. I don't know the botanical name. And I think it needs to be repotted. See these roots hanging out the bottom? Yeah, it's time. It's also showing some signs of flop. I keep watering it, and it keeps kind of, losing its water really fast. So that's another sign that it's ready to be repotted. So that is going to go in that green container. And here's another one. Now this one is, again, Christmas cactus, common name. And this one's really pretty. It's a white bloom, which it's the only one I have that has that white bloom. Technically, I should probably plant this in a little bit of a cactus mix, which I don't have today, but you can see it's starting to put on some new growth. And it's in this really tiny pot, and I kind of want it to get bigger. So that's another reason, to kind of up pot something a little bit. It's like I want it to grow. I want it to have room to grow. So I'm going to up pot this one today. And then I do have a neon pathos. There's a couple of different things in here. This is a neon pathos. And then I have this really beautiful variegated pathos. So I think those are two different cuttings. I'm not sure, but I've had them in this mason jar. And you can see they are ready to be potted up. So I'm going to play a little pot switcheroo, I think. And I think I'm going to put this plant into this pot, because this is a geranium that has very much outgrown its pot. Check this thing out. I mean, it's leaning, because the place I have it, it's leaning for the sun. But I also, again, if I up pot this, I think it'll just be better for the plant. And I'm going to try to kind of stake it up a little bit or something. So I'm going to up pot that one and use this purple pot that I have a little saucer for that pathos plant, I think. And then this one is going to go, I'm not sure. It might go in just one of these green nursery pots that I have. I have last winter, I overwintered a lot of my geraniums, and they did really good in the greenhouse. So for that reason, it doesn't need to be like the most decorative pot necessarily. So I might go ahead and use that. I also have this pot, which I really like, but it has no drainage hole. It's more of a cover pot, so I might use that one, but that one's a little big. And then I also have this pot, which is what I think I'm going to put this one in. So it'll be just a little bit bigger. This one does have a drainage hole. This one I got on Amazon. So that's my plan. I got 4 plants. I need to repot. And if you haven't seen my videos before where I'm in my greenhouse, I have a pretty good little system set up for repotting. So let me show you my system where it makes it pretty quick and easy. Okay guys, well here is my system. So I have these little bins on rollers. They're on little casters. And this is my potting soil. I also have these nice big scoops in there. And that just slides underneath this work table that I have. And I have regular potting mix in one, and then my seed starting mix in another. So it makes it really simple for me, because what I usually do is stand over on this side. I can just reach behind me, get my soil, and then I do my repotting over here. So I have like a little, one of those little messy mats, I call them. My seeds are over here too, so this is where I do all my seed starting. But because I have that system with the dirt just right there, it makes life really easy to just kind of turn around and get these repotted. So that is where I'm going to be working today. And you can see it's kind of a mess in here, but it's a working greenhouse, right? So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get these rolling today and get this project done before it gets too hot in here. So let's do it. All right, I'm going to start with my garage sale find this morning for my little prayer plant here. And I think the green kind of, I don't know, I feel like it plays nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and turn around and get this filled up with some soil. Okay, and I do usually wear gloves when I'm doing this, so I'm going to pop on. Oh, there's something in that glove. Oh, good, it's no spiders. Have you ever had that happen where you put on a glove and there's something in there? Oh, it always creeps me out. Here, I'm going to shake this one out just in case. Anyway, all right, so let's go ahead and get this pathos out of here. The other tool I'm going to grab, which I love, are these little, little mini gardening tools. They make life easy, and they're just cute, and they're fun to use. All right, so this one's just in a plastic can. Carefully tip it over, see what we got going. Oh yeah, see those roots? I think this one is ready for some fresh soil, more permanent home than that plastic can. Now that plastic can was inside of a cover pot that didn't have a hole, but I think it's going to be happier here in this pot. All right, and I'm going to grab, again, my soil that's just right behind me, backfill this. So tell me in the comments, do you do houseplants? Are you a houseplant lover or just an outdoor gardener? I first got into outdoor gardening because of my houseplant obsession. So I would say I kind of did both, but I was really into houseplants, and then I think that trickled into, you know, doing more gardening outdoors. I'm trying to be careful with this guy. So tell me in the comments, do you also do houseplants? Do you just do outdoors? Like, what's your MO when it comes to plants? If you do outdoors, do you do just veggies? Do you do flowers and veggies? What kind of plant person, plant parent are you? I really enjoy houseplants as well as outdoor gardening. I think, especially here in the Pacific Northwest, like it's cold and rainy for a lot of the year. So it's really nice to have that indoor, those indoor plants. All right, so the last thing I'm gonna do before I button this guy up is I just got some of this the other day, Omnicote flower and veggie. So I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit of this in here. So this is a slow release fertilizer. And I don't know that this is totally necessary, but since I'm doing anyway, I might as well give a little shot of this and see if it kind of helps this plant rebound. Prayer plants are cool. The leaves will follow the sun and they'll actually like turn and do different things, but you can tell this one's it's a little crowded. It might actually need a little prune too in some areas, but I think I'm going to do that for now. I could go ahead and get a stake and stake this one up, but I kind of like the drapiness of it, so I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it and I'll put it on a bookshelf or something. So that is number one done. Move him aside. And let's move on to number two. We're going to do you next. I love this thing, a zygo. That's the official name of a Christmas cactus. Now, contrary to popular belief, Christmas cactus aren't truly a cactus. That's what they're called, you know, that's the common name for them, but they're really not a cactus. They do like a quick draining soil, and they do like to dry out between waterings. I'll link a video for you. I did a whole video around Christmas time on Christmas cactus, and I'll link that video below. So you can see I'm just up potting about one size pot up really from how big this is. So not too much, because especially with this one, I don't want it to hold on to too much moisture. When I water it, it does have some water spots on it that I could buff out. I'm going to try a little bit of this Omnicote fertilizer again, and I'll top dress it with some fresh soil, and I think this will give this a lot more room to grow. Anyway, Christmas cactus, one of my favorites. There's actually some that bloom around Thanksgiving. There's some that bloom around Christmas or New Year's. And then there's actually some that bloom at Easter. So there's different ones of this zygo, they call it, varietals. But they make excellent houseplants, and they're pretty easy to care for, really. They're pretty basic in their needs, and then they provide those gorgeous blooms, especially in a gloomy time of year where it can be cold outdoors. Okay, so when you're up potting, make sure to leave a little bit of room for the water, right? Make sure that when you're watering, it's not going to overflow on you. Tuck this guy in, and I'll probably go through with a little cloth or something and buff out. He's got a few water stains on him, but overall, looking good. Ready for the next one. Let's go. I'm trying to beat the heat this morning. Okay, so next up, I have this cutie pot, and I have these pathos. So let me take a look at these roots real quick and decide what I'm doing here. There's this really beautiful variegated branch, and I want to see if it is part of the neon or if it's different. I saw it coming out of one of my branches, and I snagged the branch because I thought if I can get that going and propagate that. Okay, so these two have those variegated leaves, so I'm going to put these in a separate pot, and I'm going to put those stems in a different pot. So let's go ahead and use this one for the variegated one, I guess. Anyway, if you ever see that kind of thing on your plant, like you all of a sudden get, you get kind of a variegated leaf, trim it off and propagate it, because then you could have more of that, and that's a little bit more rare. All right, so since this one is coming from a cutting, I am going to keep this wet, okay? The next couple days, the next couple weeks, I am going to be watering this a lot, because right now this baby is going to go into a little bit of shock because it has been living in water as a cutting, and now I'm introducing soil to the world of this plant, and it's going to be like it's going to be a little mad at me. But that's okay. It's for the best, baby. I promise. It's for the best. So cuttings from pathos, cut them at a node, soak them in some water, boom, more plants, right? Plants from plants. Again, I've done some other videos on house plants specifically. I actually have a little playlist. If you go to my playlist, I'm just going to do a little bit of this. I have a whole playlist on house plants, and making plants from plants is the way to go, right? You can share them with others. You can increase your plant collection with houseplants. It's magical. It really is. It gets me every time. The fact that you can take cuttings from certain plants and make new baby plants. Like, it feels like you're a parent, right? You're a plant parent. Okay, a little bit more. And again, I'm going to be keeping this one wet. I'm going to soak it today. Oops, I lost my bow here. There we go. Maybe I'll flip the bow. There we go. So this is the variegated one. You can see with those leaves. Isn't that gorgeous? Obsessed. Okay, so I'll be watering all these in. So I'm going to move that one. And then I'm going to go ahead and find a different pot for you. And now I'm going to go ahead when I get inside, and I'm going to clip more and put them in that jar. I just happen to love that jar with the macrame. So I have this pot. I actually painted it. Take these rocks out. I painted this pot a few years back, so I'll show it to you in a second. Let me get this old soil out of here. Okay, so here it is. So I just painted it with some acrylics. It was fun. It was just like a fun little rainy day project, but I do like the pot, so I'm going to go ahead and reuse this. And this is going to be for this other pathos. And again, keeping it nice and wet the next couple days. Let's see. You can do this two ways. You can have all of them kind of going that same direction, or you can kind of splay out. So I've got 3 arms here, so I'm going to try to kind of I'm gonna make them go 3 different ways here, just to kind of make a more interesting plant. That last one, I kind of made them all go the same direction, but let's try something different. So here's a trick. Get them all in there where you want them. Give it a shake. That worked pretty good. A little bit of this, not too much. And I'm gonna top dress it. Give it a shake. Give it a push. Boom, insta plant. Love propagating. And kind of my rule of thumb is if you have like a jar you like this just happens to be one I like with this macrame around it. I think I got it at like a craft fair or something. When you go ahead and plant one up, do another cutting, right? Just always have cuttings going if you want to increase your collection or sell them or give them or whatever. Okay, so went ahead and got that in. Again, I'm going to water this guy in, but why not just, let's just throw these rocks back in here because they're kind of cute. Little top dress, never hurt anybody. Kind of helps the soil settle. And then happen to have this little frog. He's a little messed up, but there we go. Okay, I've got one more to go, and this is probably the biggest one, the one I'm going to struggle with the most probably, which is this geranium. And geraniums are cool. Geraniums, you know, you can overwinter them indoors like a houseplant. A lot of people just ditch them at the end of the season, but you can overwinter them and increase your collection. So you can see it's pretty root bound. And basically, the bigger pot you put them in, the bigger geranium you're going to get. So I was thinking about this one. This is a pretty big up pot. So I think I'm going to just go with, well, I was going to say, what's the diameter? Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with a nursery pot for this guy. So I got these little green nursery pots on Amazon. I have a lot of nursery pots, but I do like these just because they're a nice solid color, and they're, I'd say the plastic is, you know, thicker than maybe some nursery pots that you get. Okay, so that's a pretty good up pot. It's not very big, much bigger in diameter, but it's bigger in depth, and it will allow those roots to get down in there. And hopefully increase the size here of this geranium. Now I also could trim this guy up a little bit and do a little pruning. You can see there's a new branch forming here, but if I was to trim back some of these branches, then they will, you know, get a little bit more bushy instead of quite so leggy. This guy's a little leggy for me. But I think what I'll do instead on this guy is I think I'll just stake him up. And I got to be kind of careful because the growth habit is over like that. But I think if I grab a stake and some, it's got to be a longer stake than that. Let's see, I've got this. Ooh, this is pretty long. Okay, it's like a nice long piece of bamboo stick. Okay, and I've got some of this. Oops. Let's see if I can persuade this guy to grow a little bit more vertical. It's so funny. I used to hate the smell of geraniums, and now I actually really like it. I don't know why they call them, some of them scented geraniums. Is it because they have kind of that distinctive smell? But I have to say, the more geraniums I have in my collection and the more I work with them, I actually kind of like the smell now. Tell me in the comments, do you like the smell of geraniums or not? Okay. You know, this is going to be a little bit of a training situation to get it to go totally vertical, but at least I'm guiding it kind of that way. I don't even know if you can see this. Can you see this? I'm not sure. Okay, I'm going to tamp this down just a little bit more since it's a taller pot. Anyway, I will overwinter this guy in my greenhouse. And then you can plant them out. You can plant them out in like different mixed planters or whatever. And then again, instead of buying them next year, you can just overwinter them. You'd have to have someplace kind of warm. So, you know, you could do them as a house plant. I'm just grooming it up just a tiny bit here. All right, that's pretty good. It's still leaning a little bit, but at least it's got a stake there for some support, and hopefully with a little bit of training, see if I can flip this. With a little bit of training, hopefully it can start to go a little bit more vertical. There we go. All right, so that one is done. I think that's all the ones I have to do today, and it's already getting hot in the greenhouse. So let me show you the result of my potting up today. All right, so here we go. We've got the little prayer plant, the pathos, the Christmas cactus, and the variegated pathos. Everybody is potted up and looking so fresh. I'm gonna get them watered in and then get them back in the house before it gets too hot today. And I almost forgot Mr. Geranium. Here he is. He was still in the greenhouse. Let's go ahead and give you a drink, buddy. Oh yeah. I think he's going to be much happier in this big pot and with that little staking situation. Much better. Okay guys, well that's going to be it for today's video. I hope that you liked checking out some of my houseplants and that it motivated you to take a look at your houseplant collection and see if maybe some of your little plant babies need to be up-potted. It is summer in most places in the country, and it is their season of growth, so take a look at them, see if they need a little bit more room to breathe. If you need me, I'll be hanging out in my Oregon yard doing some gardening. I'll see you next time. Bye.